What do you think it was about the process that allowed you to just stick with it, where like quitting wasn't an option in your brain versus the way some people say like, oh, I'm going to try this and see if it works. You were just like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm usually all in or all out.
Okay.
It's never in between for me. And on top of that, I'm very process oriented. Like my brain's process oriented. So like, I'm kind of an idiot savant. You know, if someone does something in front of me, I'm like, oh, that's how you got from here to there. And with sales, it's very much like that.
Yeah.
It's point A is the open, point B is the close, what happens in between. And I was just convinced that I could figure out how to take everybody that I talked to from point A to point B.
Right.
Just by taking them down the process.
Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Be Bright podcast. Today I have Brandon Cruz, head of sales with Versa, and he is versatile, as his shirt shows right there. We'll let him talk a little bit more about that. But once again, thanks for coming on. Definitely excited to talk to Brandon here. We've been kind of swapping war stories from door-to-door sales. He is also a Golden Door winner, which is a very prestigious award in our industry, one of the few in the proud. Excited to kind of hop into it. If you don't mind, just to kind of kick us off, give us a little bit of background about yourself and what they should know about Brandon.
Yeah, so I started in door-to-door in 2008, and so I sold for a small pest control company. Then I went and started my mission in Africa, got home, went to school at BYU, Idaho, got roped into summer sales, and caught the fire, made money while I was in college, more than I would have made doing my profession.
Yeah.
It's like, screw it, I want to do this forever. You know?
Yeah, do you ever, it's kind of funny because, when I grew up in Utah, it's like most people know about door-to-door sales, but as you distance yourself kind of from Utah, Idaho, obviously Arizona has a big influx of people, but it's almost like a weird phenomenon to describe to people that have no idea what that's like.
Yeah.
Because they're just like, you mean you just like went out some random city for 4 months during the summer and you just knocked doors all day, every day? I'm like,
just made it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like you made enough money, to pay for schooling and stuff. And
Yep.
yeah, it's definitely one of those skills that I've always said that like, yeah, the amount of money that you earn in door-to-door can be phenomenal for a lot of people. But the skills that you learn, the type of person you can become, because a lot of people, I think, when they think of door-to-door sales, they think of like, oh, this person cannot get another job.
Right.
And as we were talking about, especially in solar related, it brings in the best people and the worst people.
Totally.
But I think for those that have long-term sustained success, it's like you have to be doing it the right way. And, and we'll get more into your story, but it's like it's in a developed skill that those that take the time and kind of go through the pain and the suffering of it, you're able to earn more income doing that than anything else, working less hours. But before we get into that, with your upbringing and stuff, I always like to ask this question. It's interesting to kind of look at you now and like maybe some people kind of know your story or people don't. And that's kind of the unique thing is you might look at somebody in any industry and be like, oh, this person's very successful and this, that, or the other, but nobody really, or most people don't know kind of the backstory of what it took because even with overnight success, there's no such thing as an overnight success. Might be overnight, but it took 10 years, to go overnight. But for you, as you look back at your upbringing, can you think of any formidable experiences that you had that you feel like have sort of maybe set the tone or helped you become, the person you are today? Are you still paying the electric company for power every single month? You're not only losing money, you're investing in someone else's future, not your own. Bright Home Energy has over 400 5-star reviews and over 100 5-star reviews on the BBB. That means real homeowners just like you are already making the switch with quality and peace of mind. We are the preferred solar installer for Solar Edge Technologies in Arizona. Not a title that was given, but a title that was earned through quality, structure, and peace of mind. As a NABCEP certified solar installer and an APS qualified technology installer, your solar installation with Bright Home Energy is not good, it's top tier. So the choice is yours. You can either keep paying your utility company every month, making them rich, or you can make the switch to solar and start investing in your future today.
Totally. We talked about, before this, we talked about when so in my early days in solar, when I started my own dealer, we talked about how there was an installer that didn't pay us over $1 million in commissions. So I would say that moment in, I think it was like early 2020, has really shaped how I've done everything since then, right? But even leading up to that point, we were talking about this earlier, how after I won the Golden Door, I had somebody that I used to work with back in the day come up to me and be like, "Dude, you used to suck,"
Right.
And it's true. Like I used to be terrible. I used to be a terrible door knocker. I just didn't get it, and then now I do.
Right.
It's just I had that grit and determination to be able to fight through the adversity and all that stuff. And my wife always, she's like, you suck at stuff until you're good at it.
Yeah. No, and I think there's something to be said about that, because I've even found in life, like, I think maybe we all have some sort of natural talent or ability, or some things that come easier than others, but the things I've really had to work for tend to, number one, you probably appreciate it a little bit more.
Yeah, totally.
Number two, you're a lot more relatable, I think, when it comes to recruiting. Like you mentioned, you're a really phenomenal recruiter, because you know what it's like to kind of come where they're coming from. The hard part is some people that are successful and never really weren't successful just have a very hard time, having that camaraderie or almost like that empathy for people that are starting out. But I guess, with your upbringing, obviously you probably didn't know that you wanted to be a door-to-door salesman.
No.
Was there anything looking back that you thought you wanted to do growing up?
Yeah. So my dad, growing up, was like a pipe fitter. So he was a plumber, he knew how to weld and all that stuff. And so when I was little, we used to work in the backyard. And I remember I was digging a septic tank out of my backyard with my dad. And he used to, during water breaks or whatever, when we would have a cold Coke, right?
Yeah.
And because it was hot, he used to always say, the reason I work so hard is so that you can have opportunities, so that you don't have to do this.
Right.
So you don't have to get your hands dirty. So you can, you can live a life that's better than mine. And so I took that seriously. I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to be, be super successful as a teacher, right? And so that, him constantly putting that in my head, like, I'm doing this so that you don't have to.
Right.
I'm giving you opportunities so that you can be better than me. That really drove me to take chances, to, in college, be able to say, you know what, I am going to go for 4 months when I don't have any money in my bank account, and go work, and then work through all the hard times, because the alternative, I could always go and dig ditches with my dad, and I know how much I'd get paid there, or I could take a risk. I could get better. I could eventually be a millionaire one day, right?
Sure.
And so those little conversations with my father throughout my life when I was little, him constantly telling me, you are in line to be better than me. And I always thought my dad was awesome, because he is. And it just, like, if my dad thinks that I could be better than him, then I can definitely do it.
Yeah. No, and it's interesting, because, I mean, probably even back then, your dad probably didn't have any idea of what impact that would have on you, you know what I mean? And you probably didn't at the moment either. But, no, I agree with that. Coming from a similar background, it's like my parents worked in construction, and it's like, I hated it. B, I knew what they were paying me, which wasn't a lot. And so I'm like, man, I want to go find something else. Do you remember, like, when you go back, so you're presented with the idea of door-to-door sales in college, right? How did that happen? Did somebody just, like, tap you on the shoulder, find you, somewhere? Like, just give a little bit of that story, and then what was it, I guess, for you, from what you remember? Like, what was kind of that aha moment that said, okay, I'm going to give this a try?
Right. So it happened over the course of probably a couple of years, I would say, because when I went to college in Rexburg, Idaho, love Rexburg, I speak French fluently.
Oh.
I learned French from my mission. And so when I went to BYU, Idaho, my first day, there's a call center that hires French speakers. And you got paid $15 an hour. And in Rexburg back then, that was a ton of money. Yeah, I only had to work 20 hours a week,
Geez,
It was awesome. And I got to speak French, and that's cool, And so what happened was I went from being part-time to working full-time and I hated my boss.
Okay.
And I realized, like, hold the phone. Like, I am not in control of my destiny if I work for somebody else. And so that summer I got approached by 2 opportunities. One was to go and drive tour buses in Alaska, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I could have done that. I mean, go to see glaciers, right?
Yeah.
I guess I could now if I wanted to. But, and then the other one was to go and sell Dish Network door to door. And so I actually committed to selling Dish Network door to door in San Jose, California. And 2 months later, I met my future wife, who was from San Jose.
Wow.
And so that was like a confirmation moment for me, like, this is what I need to do. So it was basically just that. Like,
must have been meant to be.
It must have.
And as you think back to your first summer, I mean, I think I'll always remember my first summer. It was rough. I was doing alarms, a little different than satellite, but I mean, it's still the same thing. You're out there every day talking to strangers. I mean, can you recall a point where maybe you hit rock bottom or you wanted to give up and, by not giving it, like you had this kind of pivotal experience?
Yeah, I mean, which day, which day you mean?
That's a good point.
Well, I was always the guy in our office, the guy that was like, when's that guy going to quit?
Yeah.
He's not making any sales. When's he going to quit? And my rock bottom moment didn't, I mean, this is going to sound weird, but it kind of like didn't really exist.
Okay.
Because I was just dedicated to getting good.
Right.
I was like, this is what I just want to be good at this.
Right.
I know that I can be. I just need to put in the time. But when I got married, I remember we got married in July that summer, and I didn't have like any money to my name.
Right.
And so I remember looking at my wife, freshly newlyweds, like, hey, you're going to need to get a job. Like, we got to make things work.
Right.
So she went and got a job at Verizon, and I went and got a job at a call center again, not speaking French because I hated that place. But at that moment, I was like, I never want her to have to work again, And so that was a pivotal moment in my life where I was like, this moment is temporary, but we're going to double down.
Right.
We're going to go even harder next summer because I want that summer to be the best summer ever. And fast forward, it wasn't, but it was better.
Sure.
And then the third summer, I didn't have to go back and make my wife work again.
Cool.
But that third summer, it was like, hey, now we're ready to have a kid. We can afford to have a kid now. It was like little by little by little.
Sure.
It was just incremental improvements that really led us to where we're at now.
Oh, that's awesome. And yeah, it's funny. A lot of things you said stood out to me, but I think that's what's difficult about today's day and age a little bit is, because when we were doing that, like, the internet was out, but like, I mean, and you probably had a smart, but it wasn't like today, right?
Yeah,
there's not like TikTok millionaires and whatever. So I feel like it almost lended a little bit more credence to having some patience. Because similarly, like my first summer, I remember even halfway through my first summer, I was like trying to motivate myself, and I found this car I really wanted, and it was $25,000, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this, and then I didn't. I didn't make $25,000 that summer. But it's like, then I'm like, the next summer I'm gonna make like $200,000, and I didn't, but kind of like I made more, and it did take a lot longer kind of than I thought, but obviously there was a lot of people you see come and go. Yeah. Especially in door-to-door sales. What do you think it was about the process that allowed you to just stick with it, where like quitting wasn't an option in your brain versus the way some people say like, oh, I'm going to try this and see if it works. You were just like, I'm going to do this. Yeah.
I've never been like that. My whole life is I'm either all in or not. Even dating girls. Like when I first or second date, I would tell whoever I was dating, hey, just so you know, like, if, like, I want to get married at some point. So, like, if we're going to date, like, that's because we're going to get married at some point. Sure. Like, are you cool with that or no? And if they weren't, I'd be like, sweet. Sounds good. I guess I'll see you around, But my wife is the same.
Right.
Like, when I told my wife that, she was like, well, yeah, of course. And I was like, sweet. And here we are, 20 years later. But the thing is, I'm usually all in or all out.
Okay.
It's never in between for me. And on top of that, I'm very process oriented. Like, my brain's process oriented. So like, I'm kind of an idiot savant. If someone does something in front of me, I'm like, oh, that's how you got from here to there. And with sales, it's very much like that.
Yeah.
It's point A is the open, point B is the close, what happens in between. And I was just convinced that I could figure out how to take everybody that I talked to from point A to point B.
Right.
Just by taking them down the process.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because it's like, you you didn't start off day one being the top person in your office. Or
no, I was the worst person.
Golden Door winner, yeah. And I'm sure, not to fast forward too much, but obviously, accomplishing a Golden Door is something that's just very rare.
Yeah.
Very difficult. I guess for you, was that something that was always a goal of yours, or how did that kind of formulate to say, hey, you know what, I see that and I want to go do that?
Yeah. So in 2023, we made the switch from being solar first to not being solar first in 2024.
Right.
And we transitioned our sales team from doing solar to doing roofing.
Right.
And, it was on me to run that organization.
Sure.
But I remember looking at my business partners and saying, hey, I'm going to be the top guy. I want to be the man through the wire. Right. And I made it a goal of mine to hit the Golden Door by December 31st. And so from January 1st to December 31st of that year, everything I did had Golden Door behind it.
Right.
Everything. It was, what are we doing to get the Goldie today? Hey, are we on pace to hit the Goldie? What are we doing? Is this phone call gonna propel me to get the Golden Door? What's happening? Right. But even then, it was on me to run the sales program.
Right. On top of that.
And recruit, retain, deal with payroll BS, deal with drama BS, deal with operations
None
stuff.
of that in sales. Come on.
None of that, right? And so I actually went out and I bought bone condensing headphones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've seen those.
So that I could be on the doors and on the phone at the same time.
Wow.
And so I got, again, I'm process oriented, but I have an innate ability to just compartmentalize. And so when I would be on the doors, I would be in a compartment. I would be in my door-to-door phase. But if my phone rang, I could answer it and do what I needed to do with whoever I needed to do. And I'd be like, hold on, I'm going to knock on a door really quick. And I'd knock. And then they would just wait. I'd do my pitch. Or they'd
make a sale.
Make a sale or whatever, right? And then they would call me and I would be on the roof. I'd be like, hey, I'm on a roof. What's up? And they would hear me on the roof and they'd be doing their thing and we'd problem solve. So it was literally everything that I did was to get the Golden Door.
Right.
But even the things that weren't to get the Golden Door didn't stop me from doing it.
Sure.
Because I was so intentional with what I did every single day.
Wow.
But on top of that, I had a support system.
Right.
I had, people that were like, you'll never do it. Obviously.
Yeah.
Who cares about those people, right? And so, but my business partner, Brett, Ray, who and then my other business partner, Zach, they would follow up with me all the time. Hey, are you on the doors? What's going on? Are you on roofs? How many roofs you been on? Hey, what's Goldie looking like today?
Right.
With Brett, he'd be like, what do I need to do? Do I need to move these files faster for you so that you can get an approval by, your deadline? What needs to happen? And it was just knowing that those guys had my back really propelled me to be able to do that even faster.
Right.
And even in just more efficiently. And I ended up beating my Golden Door mark because, I gained momentum near the end of the year rather than petered out.
Off. Wow.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And it's true. It's it takes a village. We all can only do so much on our own.
Yeah.
And seeing that process, it's interesting that you say, because I find in life too, even with myself, sometimes when it comes to this goal we have, especially when they're kind of big and scary, a lot of people look for reasons why they can't accomplish it.
Right.
Oh, this came up or that came up or this. When you were looking for reasons why you could.
Yeah.
And I know it seems very simple and elementary, but having that process-focused mindset every single day just continue to build and build and build and carry momentum to where you actually were able to accomplish. And I think that's the thing that most people don't think about, especially in door-to-door, is momentum's a real thing.
Real.
Confidence and momentum are, if they're on your side, the job is like the easiest thing you've ever done, and you're just like absolutely crushing it. If it's against you, you're just like, holy hell, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and this seems impossible. Nobody wants to buy this from me.
Exactly.
And so, being able to stack that, gain that momentum is something that I think in life a lot of people miss out on. Whether it's, work, like door to door, whether it's working out. I've found like when I'm in the groove, things just seem to be easier. When you're trying to fight to get back into the groove, things seem more difficult. And going back to that year, I mean, obviously you're married, you have children. Like, how did you balance all of that?
Just straight up intentionally doing it. Like, nothing happened on accident, like, man, I have 4 kids, and they're all boys, and they're crazy, and they're just like me, and my wife is awesome, and so, like, on sales blitzes or whatever, like, she would hold down the fort, and she would do what she needed to do. But when I'm home, I told the boys, and I told her, like, when I'm home, I'm home, right? Like, so in order for me to be able to get home and do what I needed to do at home, I needed to perform. And so for me, it was just about compartmentalization and continuing to feed the motivation and the momentum, because it's a beast it's a big ball that's rolling. And a lot of times what I found was on days when, because I wasn't perfect at it, right? Like, I'm not Jesus, and so on days where I didn't have momentum on my side, it was my fault. And I had to tell myself that.
Right.
Like, oh, you stayed at the office just a little too long. Oh, you hung back at lunch a little bit too long. Oh, you went to QT to go and get a drink because you felt like you needed a break instead of just continuing to move the ball forward. And, some days are different than others, but for the most part, I held myself accountable because I knew that in order to do that and accomplish the goal of winning a Golden Door, accomplish the goal of exceeding expectations with my business partners, and accomplish the goal of being a good dad, to my kids that are growing, and then being a husband, like it had to be intentional.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the thing is I think taking that ownership mentality was probably very pivotal, you know, because like if I don't have momentum, I'm not blaming anything else. I'm not saying it was this, that, or the other. I'm looking back at me and knowing that it's in your control. It's like, okay, then I can change it.
Exactly.
But then I think it's also probably nice that, when you are having success and you're giving yourself some credit along the way, because then you don't feel like it's a fluke or just like a lucky day. It's like, no, like the actions I've been taking have all compounded to be able to do this.
Yeah, and I had cheerleaders on my side too. Sure. So when I would come home and I'd be like, oh, I let the day get away from me, and I only got 3 today,
Right.
My wife would be like, what do you mean? You have 3 more than you did yesterday, Dude. Who cares about, you're home now, let's, daddy's home, and then tomorrow morning she'd be like, hey, remember what you're committed to, like remember who you are, who you've committed to being. Yeah. And, and when the phone would ring and I would think, oh man, I got to go back to the office and deal with this crap. Right. I'd be like, you know what? It can wait until tomorrow. Yeah. We're not going to go out of business today. Yeah. If I don't go back to the office. So I'm going to go and I'm going to get what I need to get done. I'm going to go home. I'm going to spend time with my kids, and then tomorrow morning we'll tackle this. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. It's great at compartmentalizing. Yeah. That's where, I think it's tough when you are, in a leadership role, plus you're trying to perform. It's like everything can stack on top of each other and kind of weigh you down. But obviously it sounds like with your mentality and the way you go about things, you're not, once again, it's like you could allow all those distractions to be like, well, I could earn it a Golden Door because of this, that, or the other. But like, no, like I'm going to do this, essentially in spite of that. So to kind of circle back to that moment, you earn the Golden Door, you go up there to, door-to-door con. Maybe just walk us through that experience and what that was like, and then the experience that you referenced. Yeah, it was cool, I was hoping I could take, like, my wife with me, but I can't remember what happened, but we ended up actually going with, we had multiple Golden Door winners for our company. We had 2. Jeez. There were 20 roofers on the stage. 2 of us were from the same company, which was awesome. Yeah. And you get the award and the moment goes away, and but it was just something about being handed the Golden Door, having your name written out or said in front of all these door-to-door savages, dude.
Right.
Like at door-to-door con, like you're investing in yourself to go.
Right.
So you're serious about your craft. It's awesome. And then having them cheer for you, and then seeing Taggart out, and then give a bro hug to Taggart, you know, who's a stud in and of himself.
Yeah.
And then you stand on the stage with these other dudes and women that are awesome, and just knowing that you had accomplished something. And then my favorite part was I got back to my seat, and my business partner Zach, he was FaceTiming my wife and kids, and I got my phone and I saw like there were like maybe like 10 or 15 messages from people that were in the crowd that knew me. They're like, bro, I had no idea.
That's
like,
awesome.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
And then running into, you know, a guy from my past and him being like, dude, you used to suck. And it was just like, yeah, but I don't anymore, you know, like this is really cool. And just seeing like those guys just that I respected in the industry recognize, be like, dude, you did it, man. Like, way to go. Yeah. And then hearing people say like, you've reached the pinnacle of your sales career. What are you going to do next? Right. And instead of it being like, oh, well, you're here, you know, there were guys that were like, what are you going to do next, man? Right. Like, and they were excited, genuinely excited, like, bro, I can't wait to see what you accomplish next. Right. Like, what are you going to do, you know? And then being like, well, I'm going to do it again. You know, you don't really have an answer, you know? But instead, you know, I took the intention of building the Golden Door for myself and went all in on building our sales organization even more than I could last year. Sure. And we're seeing tons of results. That's awesome. And it's just like, what am I going to do next? I'm going to pour myself into other people. Right. Because that's cool winning it and getting the award and getting your name on a plaque and getting to give Taggart a hug, you know. But I would much rather have 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 dudes that I've had a part of developing do that too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, obviously I think you hit the nail on the head where it's like, I think individually we can only do so much, and knowing just a little bit about you and the way you're wired, because like you get to the top of the mountain and you're like, okay,
where are my bros?
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it's like, that was awesome. Yeah. But it's just kind of like you, and like, you know what you put into it, and yeah, you had a support system, but it's like at the end of the day, you were the one out there executing. Yep. But how much more special would it be, like you're saying, is that now you can fully invest into people and bring them up? Because obviously, sure, winning that changed your life. Yeah, totally. But whether you won that or not, it's like you would still be successful how you are, but it's like, how do you bring those people up that, like, you know, that's going to change their lives, and then what effect are they going to have on other people? Yeah. And it just goes down from there.
Yeah, I literally had the best sales year I'd ever had, ever.
Dang.
And it was because I said I would.
Right.
And that's massive. Yeah. Like, the thing is, I didn't do anything special other than just do what I said I would do.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, I guess looking back on that experience, like, what do you feel like you learned from that over that year? Because I mean, this isn't like a week or even a month or a 75 hard, which I'm sure 75 hard is hard, but this is like 365 days, dude. Yeah. This is a long time.
Yeah, 75 hard is hard. I've done it a couple of times.
Have you?
It's rough, yeah. But
thinking about doing it?
A year, do it. It's awesome. But a year. It's nothing, like you said, like it's not a fluke. It's not a flash in the pan. It's consistency. It's getting out and doing what you said you're going to do every day, because that's what you have to do. Right. And over the year, it taught me that there's a lot of power in just doing what the freak you said you were going to do. Yeah. And being the person that you know you are every day. And knowing that just you going and putting one foot in front of the other every day, you can accomplish massive things. There's a lot of power that people are just sitting on. That men and women, but mostly that men are just sitting on because they think, oh, I'm not that special. Like, nah, I'll just do what it is that I'm going to do, and, you know, whatever happens. But the reality is you can do special things by taking actions that you don't feel are special. Like literally going and just doing 2.5 hours, 3 hours of door knocking a day, like that doesn't sound super special, and it's not, and frankly, but you put that consistency and effort together over 365 days,
right?
You can do insane things. Like I helped over 300 people get new roofs. I produced over $3 million in revenue.
Right.
But it doesn't happen because like I go and get 10 sales a day.
Sure.
Now there were days where I did that, where
Yeah.
I went and did double digits. There were days that I almost got to 20 sales, but there were days where I got 1. There were days that I got 3. There were days
Right.
that I got, and those days were vastly more. They were more frequent than
Yeah.
the days that I went and popped off.
Sure.
And it's putting together little victories and little things that you feel like are inconsequential or not special or whatever, that will actually take you to very special places. It's like with 75 hard, I've done it a couple of times, but you're just following a checklist, and the checklist isn't special.
Right.
2 45-minute workouts, drink a gallon of water a day, read a nonfiction book, take a progress picture. Like, anybody could do that. But when you can't miss,
Yeah.
that's when the hard part comes
Right.
in, right? And so that's what it is. It's like when I can't miss, right? When I'm going on the doors and I can't miss, when there's a problem back at the office but I can't miss, then it's like that's when it gets hard.
Yeah.
That's when it turns into special.
Interesting.
These footsteps, these one foot in front of the
Right.
other action, that's when they become special.
Yeah.
And I think people miss that.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think because I was listening to Andy Frisella's podcast recently about 75 hard, wanting to start it, and I think that's basically what he boiled it down to. He's like, the whole point in this thing is like if you don't do this or commit to doing this, it's just proving that you don't have that belief in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's actually what this program is designed to do, is give you that belief in yourself. Because if you can do this, and like you say, can't miss, and you have to follow through with that, like you could do anything.
Yeah.
And I think there is that sort of, like you said, it's the, we've always kind of talked like we've been in business going on 8 years, and it's like, man, we're not the flash in the pan. We've never been the biggest. Like, I don't know. It's a little bit boring sometimes, because you're just kind of one foot in front of the other and like steady and stable and moving forward and trying to figure it out. And, it's not like this here today, gone tomorrow, but it's like kind of the non-sexy, the boring, the just day after day, stacking days over and over and over again. And then finally you look back over 8 years, you're like, wow, we've accomplished more than we kind of initially thought. And you have a pretty strong foundation, and you're like, man, if I can get through all that, like, hell, I can get through anything. But
but it's not. But it's deeper than that too.
Yeah.
Like, you think about talking about solar,
Yeah.
or roofing, like you guys going and being that consistent effort in the space.
right.
How many lives have you impacted?
Yeah.
Right. Like, you think about your sales rep. You have one sales rep that goes out and he knocks doors. Maybe you have 2, maybe a setter closer. Right. So there's 2 sales reps, and they go and they knock doors and they get paid a commission.
Right.
Well, in order for that solar sale to get installed, you have someone in your back. I saw your back office. You probably have, 12 people in the office right now? Well, 12 lives just got blessed because of one person going out and doing something that might not be special.
Right.
But then you have the engineers, and then
Yep.
you have the permitting office, and then you have the utility, and then you have the supplier. You have CED or
Yeah.
whoever.
CED.
But then on top of that, love CED.
Shout out CED.
Shout out
We're all
CED.
like
Not a paid advertisement.
Yeah.
But then you have
Brought to you by CED.
Exactly. Then you have the panel manufacturer.
Yeah.
But that's just a solar panel. Like, then you
Right.
have the inverter. Then you have the finance part. Then you have all of the other stuff, all of the other
Yeah, it's pretty
15,000 line
crazy.
items. So you think about the ripple effect of that one not special action of the door knock that turned into a sale is actually super special when you break it down. And that's and so for me in the roofing space, that's what drives me every day. It's like, well, I'm not doing this for me.
Right.
I'm doing this for them. But them isn't just my family, but
Sure.
it's the families of the 1,000,000+ people that I get to influence and improve their lives
Right.
because I just went and knocked a door.
Yeah. That's crazy. I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I think from and you've probably experienced it, being in a leadership position, owning a business, I think goes back to what you're saying, like you can have so much personal success,
Yeah.
and it's great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like some of our best moments and memories have been the positive impact it's had around those around
Yeah.
us that work for us,
Yeah.
work with us. And I think you're right. Like a lot of times in life, it's like we don't maybe appreciate the process itself enough
Mm-hmm.
to where it's like, dude, I've been in solar like a decade and I never really did the whole spider web thing that you've done. That it's like, man, every single cell that is made, it affects a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It was cool. So we went to Disneyland. I took my kids to Disney in September. Yeah, I think, or October. October, I took them to Disney. And my oldest son, who's 10, stud. He's going to be just like me. He's awesome. My little protege. He listens to all my sales trainings, and he's just naturally
Get him
gifted.
out there.
He seriously. But he's like, Dad, how many roofs did you have to sell for us to go on this Disney trip? And I was like, you know what? That's a great question.
Yeah,
And we broke it down, and I did the spiderweb thing. And I was
Right.
like, the cool thing is we just went to Disneyland, right? And because I sell roofs, we went to Disneyland.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, and how many people work at Disneyland? I was like, exactly. How many people work at Disneyland? Then we did the whole
Right.
thing, but from both spectrums. And I was like,
Jeez.
because one person decided to make a choice, which is me,
Yeah,
we get to impact how many thousands of lives.
it's true.
And he was like, that's so cool. I never even thought about that. I was like, I know, because you're 10. But it was cool to actually break it down for him and to see that aha moment with him.
Yeah.
Because he's like, and I was like, now you know why Dad goes to work.
Right.
Now you know why Dad has to leave in the morning. Now you know why when Dad comes home, he's so tired.
Right.
Right? And I was like, that's why it's important for me when we go to Disneyland that we have fun.
Right.
And so it's cool.
Oh, that is awesome. And you'd mentioned something a little bit earlier that I kind of wanted to hit on. I think, obviously, I can tell just like you have, obviously, your own core values and
Mm-hmm.
the way you go about life, and it speaks volumes with your company and, versatile and stuff. I guess for you, when you think of core values, like what are your guys' core values? And I guess to you, do you have any specific core values for yourself that you feel like you live by that have kind of helped shape you?
Yeah, so we have a few core values. Versatility and win are my favorite.
Cool.
Those two, honestly, those two could be the only ones.
Sure.
But versatility and win. Versatility is huge. I've knocked doors and I've sold every product you can think of. Like, I'm a unicorn when it comes to that because my sales process is the same.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's solar, if it's roofs, if it's HVAC, if it's windows, if it's turf, if it's pest, if it's dish, if it's alarms, monotronics, if it's whatever, right? It's all the same process. And so versatility is huge for me. That's a core value that I share personally
Nice.
too. And then win is a big one for me too. It's big in my life because winning for me, and my dad said this when I was little, and he still says this to this day. He's like, I'm the only man in your life that will ever want you to be better than him. And I thought, like, that's really cool, Dad. Like, yes,
Right.
and I'm going to do that for my sons. But I also think, like, that's kind of sad. Like, because we're all men, and we
Right.
all have our struggles and our fears and all this stuff. And there's one man in our life that wants us to be better than him. So for me, it's growth,
Right.
which is another core value that we have. But for me, it's growth, but not just win and growth, but growth for other people, winning for other people. Because there are men in our lives, like I'm sure you have a few, that don't have a dad.
Yeah.
And if they don't have the one man in their life that wants them to be better than him, it's my job. And I can do that. Like, it's not that hard. Like,
Right.
I'm not that cool, Like, you can be. It's easy for you to be better than me, right? Like, especially if I'm me. Like, I'll show you, And so those are they ring true for our company, but they also ring true for me. Versatility, win, growth.
Damn. Well, that's awesome. And I guess, kind of to put a bow on things, I mean, you're at this point in your career where it's like you've reached the pinnacle, you're continuing to build people now, invest in people. I guess what's kind of next for you? And then I guess to tack onto that, like when it's all said and done, none of us have a magic crystal ball. Like, who knows how long we'll all be in door-to-door sales, or
Right.
maybe you shift to something else. But like, what do you want your legacy to be?
So I asked what's next for us is we want to grow. So we want to be $100 million roofing company by 2030. And so next year we want to do $50 million in rev.
Damn.
So huge.
Yeah.
Everything we do. I just had a meeting this morning
Huge.
with our sales manager. Huge, right? Shout out. But I just had a sales meeting with my sales team or my management team this morning, and I told them like, hey, everything we do, the direct sales organization is responsible for $40 million next year.
Damn.
Everything we do, $40 million. If what I'm doing today doesn't have $40 million written on it, I'm not doing it. If the phone call you're answering doesn't have $40 million written on it, you're not answering it. If the door or the customer that you're talking to isn't going to move the needle towards the $40 million, you're not talking to them. Everything we do.
Dang.
So that's what's next. It's everything we do is $40 million. And as far as like my legacy goes, I actually told my dad this, which is kind of cool. He had, he's getting old, and he was like, I don't have anything, I don't have like anything to show for everything that I've done. And I was like, that's bull crap. Like, you have me, like your legacy is me, right? And them. And I pointed my sons. And my legacy is in them, right? Like, when it's them being good men. Sure. Them taking care of the people that are under their stewardship. And, some of them will be entrepreneurs, some of them won't. Some of them will be sales leaders and leaders in general. Some of them won't. But all of them will have the opportunity to be a father. And being a father is really the true test of who you are as a man, because it's the greatest calling of any other calling on this earth. It's the closest we can get to heaven is being a dad. Because, for the believers out there, we have a heavenly Father, and he hurts when we hurt. I hurt when my sons hurt. When they fall down and they cry, like, I hurt too, I know how that is. I might call them a puss and pick them up, but at the end of the day, like, I know, like, they cry, and I want to make them feel better. And so for me, my legacy that I feel like will happen is, it's not set in stone yet, but I know, because I know who I am, I know that the legacy that I'm setting up for myself is gonna be cool, because in my 10-year-old, I see him be a good human being. Right. And whenever I see him be a good human, I'm like, oh, good, my legacy's intact. Yeah. He has my last name and he gets to carry it with me, but it's also my dad's last name, and it's his dad's last name. And so the thing is that I told my son, I told him this 2 days ago, because he took a test and he put Quentin Cruz on his test, and he left answers blank, and he drew stick figures on his test. And I was like, dude, like, listen, your last name means something, okay? Like, your name means something. Right. It's up to you to make sure that your last name means something good forever. And I was like, but the thing is, like, your last name isn't just your last name, dude. Like, it's mine too. And it's your dad and your grandpa's and his dad's and his dad and his dad, right? And it'll be your son's last name. So if you put your last name on something that isn't your best, it shouldn't go there. Or it needs to be your best. And he was just like, Dad, that makes so much sense. And I was like, I know. So freaking never have that happen again, And so that's the thing is, like, be the reason that your last name means something, but be the reason your last name means something good. Yeah. And so that's just what I tell my sons. Sure. Is be that reason. When someone says, it's cool because they go to school, and so when they come in, there's 4 of them. Yeah, and they're big boys,
Tornado.
Yeah. When they come into school, it's cool when I hear, oh, the Cruz boys are here. Right. I'm like, dude, our last name is gonna mean something cool, And so that's, for me, it's not really about me. Sure. But it's about my dad and his dad, because when my kids aren't gonna like remember my dad forever, like they are in pictures and stuff. Sure. Just like I don't remember my grandpa, but I get to carry a piece of all of them with me every day. Sure. And that's my last name.
Yeah, setting that example and like a standard, basically, like you're setting a standard of what does it mean to be.
It's why like royal or nobles have a coat of arms. It's like you carry the coat of arms with you, like you better be.
Cruz coat of arms.
Yeah. Maybe it exists. I don't know. We'll figure
Or
it
you
out.
guys got to build one.
We'll build one,
if
yeah.
you don't have it. That's awesome.
Exactly. It'll have a door on it.
Yeah. A golden door.
A golden door.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
It's been fun to get to know you a little bit better and just to hear your story. You know, it's
Yeah.
motivating and, knowing what it takes. Like, we've had a golden door winner, and just to see the blood, sweat, and tears in the 365 days. Like,
Yeah, it's real.
it's not a fluke. It's not just on a whim that anybody can do it, and that's what it's built for. But for those that set their mind to it and actually see it through, there's a lot of power that comes from that, not just for yourself, but the example you set and the impact you have on those around you. So if people are looking to find you on like Instagram or whatever, do you mind just giving them your handle or how they can find you in Advocacy or
Yeah.
versa?
So my handle is at Cruzy32. So CRUZZIE 32. Don't make fun of me. My mom calls me Cruzy. I love my mom. She's the best. And then Instagram, Brandon Cruz. I'm on Solar Pros. I usually the one when someone asks, tell me your best knocking script, I usually am the one that says, do it or you're gay. So, yeah, that's usually me.
Does it work? That's funny.
I got a phone call the other day from a buddy of mine. He's like, dude, it worked. I was like, we did it. Best day ever.
Are you on the Solar Pros Facebook?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh,
yeah.
dude.
So
There's
good
some
time.
there's some all-timer people on there.
I love that. I love that Facebook group.
Some of those guys, I'm like, man, if you spent half as much time actually working as you do on this Facebook group,
Yeah,
you
I
would
know.
be something.
It's
But
a good time.
yeah, there's definitely some names that you say that. Anyways,
Yeah, definitely.
trigger names. But no, man, I appreciate you coming on and get to know you and hear your story. It's definitely motivating for us. And please keep tuning in to the Be Bright podcast. Find Cruzy on the Instagram. Follow him. Definitely, great salesperson, great leader, but even better person, which I think speaks volumes and the legacy he's trying to leave. So remember to like, subscribe, please share this. Keep tuning in for another episode of the Be Bright podcast. Thanks.